What if the real danger in your home wasn't outside, but something small enough to go unnoticed until it was already too late? That is the chilling concept behind Sting, a creature feature horror film that transforms a simple idea into a tense survival nightmare. At its core, this is not just a story about a monster. It is about isolation, fear inside safe spaces, and how quickly control can vanish when something unpredictable enters your environment. From the beginning, the film builds its tension in a confined setting, where safety feels assumed rather than guaranteed. The characters are not prepared for danger, because danger is not supposed to exist where they are. That assumption becomes the first mistake. One of the strongest elements of Sting is how it takes something small and turns it into a constant psychological threat. The horror does not rely on constant visibility. Instead, it relies on uncertainty. The audience is made to anticipate danger even when nothing is happening, which creates a persistent sense of anxiety. This is where the film becomes effective. Because fear is not only what you see, it is what you expect to appear. A major theme in the film is containment. The environment itself becomes part of the threat. Once the creature is introduced into the space, escape is no longer simple. Every room, every corridor, every hidden corner becomes part of a growing sense of entrapment. The characters are forced into a shrinking world where safety becomes increasingly difficult to maintain. Another important layer is unpredictability. The creature does not behave in a fully logical or predictable way. This unpredictability removes the comfort of pattern recognition, which is usually how characters and audiences process threats. When patterns break, fear increases. Because the mind cannot prepare for what it cannot predict. One hidden detail many viewers notice is how the film uses pacing shifts to control tension. Moments of silence are extended just long enough to make the audience uneasy, followed by sudden bursts of activity that disrupt that tension. This rhythm creates a cycle of anticipation and release that keeps the viewer constantly alert. But over time, the anticipation becomes the real source of fear. The film also explores responsibility and consequence. As the situation escalates, it becomes clear that initial decisions, small and seemingly harmless, have contributed to the severity of the crisis. This introduces a moral layer to the story where survival is not just about reacting to danger, but also dealing with the outcomes of earlier choices. This is a recurring pattern in survival horror. Small mistakes become large consequences. Another key theme in Sting is isolation. Even when characters are physically together, emotional coordination begins to break down. Stress creates disagreement. Fear creates hesitation. And hesitation creates vulnerability. This breakdown of unity becomes just as dangerous as the external threat itself. As the narrative progresses, the creature's presence forces the characters into increasingly desperate decisions. Survival becomes the dominant instinct, overriding logic, caution, and sometimes even empathy. This shift is critical. Because horror often reveals not what monsters do, but what humans become when survival is at stake. One of the most unsettling aspects of the film is how quickly normal life is disrupted. The contrast between ordinary behavior and escalating danger emphasizes how fragile everyday safety actually is. The audience is reminded that stability is often temporary and easily broken. The climax of Sting intensifies this idea, pushing the characters into a final confrontation where every decision carries immediate consequences. The creature is no longer just a hidden threat, but an active force shaping the outcome of every action. There is no room for hesitation. Only reaction. The ending resolves the immediate threat, but not without cost. What remains is a sense of disruption rather than full closure. Even after survival, the emotional and psychological impact lingers. The film's final message is simple but effective. Danger does not need to be large to be devastating. It only needs access. And once it is inside your space, survival becomes a matter of endurance, not comfort. Sting succeeds because it takes a familiar horror concept and compresses it into a tight, claustrophobic experience where tension never fully releases. It is not just about what the creature does, but about how quickly control can disappear when something unexpected enters a controlled environment. In the end, the film leaves viewers with a lingering thought. If something small and unnoticed entered your home, how long would it take before you realized you were no longer safe? That uncertainty is where the real horror lives. If you enjoyed this analysis and ending explained, don't forget to subscribe to Movie Story Recaps, share this video with fellow horror fans, and let us know in the comments which movie we should cover next.